Okay, this week's episode then is all about gaming and how gaming could be used in a positive way in the military. How's it going? Great to see everyone again, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Luke and I'm currently on my 13th year serving in the British Army. If you are new, consider subscribing to the channel, and whether you're new or not, remember to hit that bell icon, and that'll keep you up to date with any future content. So it'll give you a little warning order and letting you know whenever new videos have come. So, before we get into tonight's episode then, I just want to take the time to sort of give a big thumbs up to all the sort of new recruits who've just started their journey of their military career. So that's for all training establishments. Specifically, I want to have a shout out to our trainee rangers. So I know a new course has just started Sunday week, so they're currently in their very first week. Today obviously being Wednesday, but obviously as you're watching this it'll be Thursday, so you're on your first week. Happy days. Also for all the boys and girls in Harrogate, Pirbright and Winchester, keep the heads down, enjoy it, stay positive, stay away from all the negativity. If there is any negative people about, don't worry, natural selection will take its course and maneuver all that away. Just you stay positive and you'll get through it. So head down and enjoy it. Anyway, so this week's video then is all about gaming. So gaming in the military, can we relate it to the military? Can we use it as a tool to train? So can we make gaming a positive thing within the military? It's going to be a controversial one this evening because there's obviously quite a lot of people that are opinionated differently towards this subject. But anyway, we're going to get into it. Also, towards the end of the video then, a sort of mini reaction is I'll have two sort of videos at the end of this episode reference to games, and it's sort of to paint the picture via the whole sort of episode that we're going to talk about this evening. It's going to paint that picture of how far gaming's come. So the first one then will be from my very first time I owned a games console, the very first game I played, and then the second video then will be Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Going dark.
Which is we're going to be talking specifically about in this episode, and we'll have a video on that, and we'll compare how far gaming's come, how realistic it is, how much detail goes into the more modern games are right now. So then, let's get into it. So gaming in the military, do I think it's a good thing? Yes, of course I do. It's 2019, we're in the age of technology has advanced so much over the last sort of 20 odd years, and it's continuously advancing. Gaming then, as we're going to take that specifically, it's a massive industry worth billions and billions of dollars, and if you are a gamer and you know things about games, they've come along and have come very far from when they were first released, way back. You're talking 80s, the Sega Mega Drive and all that sort of stuff, so they've come a long way. What does it mean then? Because there's so much, that being such a big industry, well, what it tells us is a lot of people are playing it, so there's a lot of games out there. Of course there's a lot of genres out there, so different types of games, but this being a military channel, we're going to be focusing on the military games. Now, breaking that right back down again, there's a lot of military games out there, or military style games, whether that be your Battlefield, PlayerUnknown, or specifically what we're going to be talking about today is Call of Duty. Okay, and the reason why I've decided to single out Call of Duty for this episode, for our topic and talking about gaming, is the Modern Warfare series is back. So if you're not tracking, you're not a gamer, so Call of Duty is obviously worldwide known. Everyone knows about it. They've had loads of different sort of approaches they've taken to the game. Loads of different producers have taken on the game, and they've had different spin-offs off it. The best one, in my own opinion then, is the Modern Warfare series. So originally when Call of Duty came out, it was geared towards sort of World War style themed gaming, and then the Modern Warfare series came out. That first came out back in 2007. And also, in my opinion, once that game came out, it was massive in the military community. I was living, obviously, in the accommodation block at that stage of my career, and I can tell you now, everyone had it. Obviously, Wi-Fi wasn't great in the accommodation blocks then, but we were able to link all our PlayStations and that wirelessly, and because there's so many people living in the accommodation, play each other on that. So basically like your online gaming now, where you go to these big parties, we had that, but everyone was in the same sort of building as such. Straight away there's a positive factor out of it. There is you're working together as a platoon, as a section, a company in the working day. You come back once you finish work into the accommodation, chill out. You're now playing computer games together, strengthening cohesion. Okay, so some people are actively putting into practice what they're taught in work into the game. So we're talking obviously specifically Call of Duty. Obviously other military games will do the same, but we're just going to focus on Call of Duty. So actively they'll do their skills and drills that they're being taught in work, and then some people subconsciously will do it anyway. Okay, now hear me out. Obviously there's going to be people watching this now cringing, going, nah, there's no way that you can play video games or you can relate video games to real life operations or real life exercise. It's impossible. And I 100% agree with you. You cannot replace real-time combat or real-time actually getting out and doing and practicing your job. Now, see it in this way, where yes, you're not going to be physically doing it, but the whole thought process behind our tactics and behind how we go about things, the different skills and drills, you can certainly bring that into a video gaming environment. Yes, it's not going to be replicated the exact same way it's going to be expected to be done or conducted in real time. However, the thought process and the checklist that's going through your head that you're expected to go through when you're out in the ground, you're now using that while you're going through these games. So it's exercising that part of your head. And so what I've done then is I've looked through it. So I've obviously played games as well before, 100%. Whether or not I would probably say I'm part of the PlayStation generation. Like I said, they first came out in around, I think it was 1993, PlayStation first came out. My first console I owned was a Nintendo 64, which came out in 1997, and I was 7. So my whole life growing up, I've always had some sort of games console, and it's been a big part of growing up. So 100%. So what I've done then is, with my experiences obviously in the job, in the military, and experiences of playing all the games I've been getting amongst, I've taken out 3 sort of examples on what I'm on about using your thought process in the game and how you can implement that back into your work. If you're not military whatsoever and you're not aspiring to join the military at all, potentially this could up your game then. If you're a big online gamer and you want to take on the big high flipping tournaments and the big players, you may potentially get something out of this, because I think it's common sense and the way the tactics that we operate, they're designed for a reason. So there's no way where they're not going to work in the online environment. So let's get into them then. 3 examples then why I think the thought process can be used correctly in video gaming and real-time military stuff. Okay, so example 1 then. Reaction to enemy fire, effective enemy fire. The full word being there, effective. So real time, what that sort of means is if rounds are being fired at you and they're bouncing around your feet and all around you, so they're danger close, that is effective fire. So their enemy are having an effect on you by their fire. Straight away, you're going to go up, general direction where you think it's come from, rounds back in that direction, and you're going straight down into the prone position, and then you return fire. Straight away then, as you've dropped down to the prone position, you've now made yourself a smaller target. You're now more accurate firing position. Now, that's how we go about it. Real time, how are we relating that then into the video game, Call of Duty to be specific. So now you're going through that thought process. So you're going through your game, you're playing it, and you're doing that thing. So that's now muscle memory in your head. So when you're going to do it for real time, you'll consistently think about that and you'll go to do that first. The difference being then, in game mode, you're practicing it, you're seeing it how it works. If it doesn't work, you're obviously dead, but you can respawn. If you don't get it right out here in real time, obviously you can't respawn. Now, non-military community, so the guys or girls who have no interest in the military, you may have just come across this because of the Call of Duty aspect of it. Straight away that could up your game. I've played online games before. You've always get that person who's running around, the weapon systems at the hip, and they're just spraying and praying. flying everywhere. If you're now moving around, and any time you see a different opponent on a different team, and you're constantly dropping down to the prone position, straight away on that other player's screen, so the enemy screen, they're looking at you, you're now a smaller target. They're now having to move their joysticks or whatever to try and search for you, hit you. All at that time, you're down, you're prone, and now you're accurate fire at them, thus giving you more points for your team. So there we go. Thought process, we're using it then, and then we can implement it into work. So that's example 1. Okay then, example 2, rates of fire. So basically what rates of fire mean then is how much ammunition you're firing off and how quick you're firing it. It's a biggie, in real time, because obviously the difference between your online gaming and real time is real time, you're carrying it, you've got your ammunition, and video gaming, I think there will be games where you can have an unlimited supply consistently on your body. All that weight starts to add up. You don't get that realism there with the video gaming. But what I'm on about rates of fire is it starts to, if we start to implement the correct stuff in games. So for instance, like I said on the example 1, where you've got that player who's running around firing from the hip consistently and automatic. Every time they see someone, they're pushing down that fire button. Now, the older games may have not implemented it, but 100% these new modern games do, where they'll take into consideration that you're now the person you're controlling is standing with a weapon system not on the shoulders, so we're not aiming, so it's like from the hip, and by holding that down, it's the exact same way you would do if you were firing a rifle in real time. That kick, that recoil is going to fire the rifle everywhere. Some rounds may hit the person in the game, but it's not going to be an accurate spread. Straight away then, if you're flicking your whatever weapon you're using in the online game to sort of single shot or at most 2 to 3 round burst, you're going to be 100% more accurate now. So if you come up to that person who's running around spraying and praying, you then 2 or 3 shots, centre of mass, you're going to take down that player quicker than what he is. Straight away then, that's that sort of muscle memory is sticking in with the game. You're seeing how it works, you're seeing the sort of outcome of it, so then you're implementing it into work. Another thing then, as we're on to the sort of ammunition side and rates of fire, is like I use it where say for instance you're going to clear a building in Call of Duty, or you're coming up to a doorway, straight away excuse me, that's a vulnerable point. You will, if you haven't been taught before, but I know 100% the guys who are serving and stuff like that there, you'll put a fresh mag on, because that is now muscle memory, because it's drilled into you in work. Before you do that last bound position, or before you go into that new threat, that new room, it's a fresh mag on. Even if you've got like sort of half a mag left or a couple of rounds in there, fresh mag's on. So as soon as you go in through that sort of danger point into that room, any threat then that's your sort of you see or it comes across you, then you can fire and you're not going to get a stoppage in game. Obviously in real time, there's other sort of ways that you'll get a weapon malfunction or a weapon stoppage, but definitely in the gaming, the online gaming side, the only weapon stoppage you're going to get is as you run out of ammunition. So let's take the example of the guy or girl running around with the weapon system at the hip, flying around, spraying, praying and spraying everyone throughout the whole battle. They've entered in the opposite door of that house, so you've now met inside the room. They're not thinking about that sort of ammunition and conservation. They're just running in, and they're just letting the computer automatically reload for them. So they'll just keep going until it reloads. You've now come into a room, they've only got 2 or 3 rounds left in their magazine. You've done your fresh mag changes, you've went into the room, they've held down their fire button like they're always doing it. It's going to fire 2 or 3 rounds, and then it's going to go through the stoppage procedure. It's going to load the weapon itself. You've got the fresh mag on, you've got the extra point for the team again, just by using them sort of real tactics. So yeah, that is example 2. So then, example 3. Example 3 then is use of ground, and we can break that down into sort of 2 areas then. So the first thing then for the use of ground is sort of the immediate ground around you, as you're moving around with the player and that. I've done it like 100% when I'm moving around. When I'm playing these sort of online battles, is you're constantly looking where's the best piece of cover. So if you imagine now, if you've seen all the Terminator films where he's consistently scanning up and down, he's tracking everything, he's sort of looking as he's moving around, that's what you should be like. And when you're moving around the sort of the game, the battlefield, real time and not real time, and you're looking for that bit of cover, because as soon as you've met that opponent or you've met that enemy, you're obviously going to exchange fire with them, but then you've got to go into your cover and get your protection and use the best fire position. So straight away then, your use of ground, if you're thinking about that in the game, muscle memory, that will then implement itself whenever you do it real time, if you're going to be doing it. So that's the first one with use of ground, so the immediate ground around you. 2 then, use of ground, I'd probably say approach routes as well. So what we mean about approach routes then is, so specifically to the new Call of Duty that's coming out at the end of the month, you've got that sort of ground war game, which is 32 people on 32 people with a massive map. So you'll have, anyone who's not sort of familiar with games, you'll have obviously a massive map. All the business happens in the centre. One team will start on the left, one team will start on the right. Go, and then you all make your way there. So these new modern games then, the maps have got a lot of detail in it. So you can open the map up, look to see where the enemy's going, look to think, right, where's the enemy going to go? I would go this way if I was the enemy, and that's the best way of cover. That way, going that way, will give me cover from fire. So meaning that, say for instance, a concrete wall in game wise in Call of Duty, so if anyone starts shooting it, I've got cover there, and it's cover from view, so tick tick, all that sort of stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, you can't sit and do all this sort of stuff on an online game of the map and then throw a backpack on and disappear out into your national park and go map reading. That's obviously a real life skill where you need to learn with the maps and all that sort of stuff. You can't change it around. But what this is doing then, this use of ground, is just starting that thought process again. So you're getting into the way of thinking how to sort of piece out the ground for your best tactical advantage. And you're thinking like that, then you will automatically think like that in real time as well. So yeah, that's example 3, use of ground. Obviously, there are certain ways you need to use your ground. You can't completely rely on online games. With Call of Duty and stuff, you have to be able to do the job as well. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to sort of relate this to the job, as such, to show you how it can be used as a tool. So whenever we're not working, and how it's a good thing and how we shouldn't push it away. Okay, so now if you're still here at this part of the episode tonight, and you are a gamer and you have experience of modern games, I don't really need to explain to you or sell it to you on the level of detail that goes into creating them now and how far they've came. If you're still here and you're not really a regular gamer, or you haven't had any experience whatsoever with games, or you used to play them and you haven't touched them in years, what we're going to do then is I've got 2 sort of videos which we're going to react to sort of show you if you're not aware, and for people who are gamers and you have a lot of experience with them, you might not have experience of how games used to be, and when they very first came out, you might just be used to all the sort of the flipping graphics and stuff we have nowadays. It definitely did not used to be like that. So what we're going to do is we'll go through 2 videos. See, I don't have a screen recorder, I've got the laptop here, so we're going to be still recording on camera while I watch it here, but the whole editing process will flick between the 2 screens and I talk through it. So the first example then is, like I alluded to earlier on in the episode, was my first games console was a Nintendo 64. First game was James Bond 007 GoldenEye. That came out in 1996. I was 7? I think it was 7 then. So yeah, it was my very first experience playing the games console, and the first sort of shoot 'em up as such. So first one then, 007 GoldenEye. Here we go.
Bond, James Bond, is blasting his way
Lovely
onto
accent.
Nintendo
Look at that
64
man. It's
in
like
the
a
game
flipping
version of the hit feature
box.
film, GoldenEye. Read your case file, grab your gun and clever gadgets,
Some
then
graphics
control
there,
the
like,
actions of 007, the
look at that
world's
face.
most famous spy. True
Don't know what that
3D
is.
movement, motion and characters showcase the game's amazing realism, and different weapons allow you
Right,
to
that
accomplish
there
your tasks
obviously looks like a
covertly.
CWS and a Maxi kit of
Play
made
solo
love
or against a
and
friend or
produce
foe
something.
with a 2-character split screen. Good luck, Bond.
And there we go. GoldenEye for the N64. So obviously, those of you who can remember it, you'll probably bring you back some memories and think, "Oh, flip me, that was class." For those of you who maybe weren't even born back then, that's what we had when games sort of first came out. That's the level of graphics we were working with. There was no multiplayer. If you did, there was no online sort of multiplayer, because I don't even think the internet wasn't ready for that kind of thing yet. However, obviously there was multiplayer on the console itself, but what you had to do was, you got a big massive bit of cardboard box, cut the cardboard box in half, got flipping sellotape out of your mum or dad's kitchen, and then sellotaped it all the way down the TV screen. So you made sure player 1 and player 3 were in the same team. So they were this side of the screen, and then player 2 and 4 were in the same team, and you put the divider down, and then that's how you couldn't see each other's screens. So yeah, that's how we rolled back then. Right, the next one then, so is like we sort of stated on the sort of title on that, is Call of Duty. So this is the Modern Warfare series. So anyone who's not familiar with Call of Duty, they had all different sort of spin-offs. So this is back to the Modern Warfare series. In my sort of opinion, this is the best one, and I've already seen this sort of trailer for the game, and 100%, I'm 100% I will get. I'm investing back into Xbox again. I'm getting amongst this because this game looks good. Yeah, just hit us up then in the comments on what sort of consoles you're hitting with. What is good now, PlayStation or Xbox? Tell me now in the comments, and see what way we go. I'm more swinging towards Microsoft, Xbox, because I like Microsoft, because obviously the laptops and stuff. But yeah, go straight into it then. So the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and it comes out 25th of this month. Dark. Pulls you in straight away.
Changed.
Straight away, I think I've seen tunes off Sicario, that film Sicario. Good. Look at the absolute change in graphics, like blade. You can literally see the blades of grass.
In the shadows. Who sent us in to find it?
Watcher to 6 actual. Target is in the main house.
Only thing I pick up there is smoke in the FUP.
Bravo 6. Going dark.
Here we go. What are the difference in that?
Victor 6-4. Green light.
Friendly neighbourhood terrorist. Looks like UK. That's 4 helmets.
Stays clean. That's the mission.
Right, there you go. Straight away you can see the absolute difference in graphics there and the level of detail. Obviously, if you're a gamer and you know everything about Call of Duty, that will not be a surprise to you. Obviously, if you're still here and you're not you've no experience with games, straight away, that is the level of graphics that are now in a game. More on Call of Duty then. So obviously for this sort of little vlog, I had to research it a bit to bring more information to it. And there's a lot of effort has went into that game. It's sort of multi-million-dollar game. It's a lot of money pumped into it to design it. All the sort of characters that you can see manoeuvring around and stuff, they've got ex-Navy SEALs in and put them in the sort of the morph suits with all the balls and the green screen and mimicked all their movements. So all the room clearance, how they enter into rooms, how they move around, how they reload, all that's all real-time tactics. But it just shows you the level of detail that they wanted in that. It's right back to the nitty-gritty real-time conflicts. So as well as getting ex-Navy SEALs in to sort of explain to the producers about tactics and what way to go about the storyline, they also got in a war correspondent, so a media girl, a woman, I can't remember her name, but she came in to tell them, the game producers, all about how conflict affects the civilian population. So they were able to implement that into the game as well. Also then from the Navy SEALs people who were given, and there was also sort of military liaisons to the game itself. we're giving them advice on what way to set up the storyline. So reading into it then, there's a lot of freedom of movement for the player. Your choices, so the choices you make as you're moving through the game will have consequences later on down the line. Also, what the sort of combat specialists and the people who are advising them, trying to bring the realism of stress in a conflict to the player, and where you're going to come through into rooms and there's going to be loads of people coming at you. Some of them will be enemy and some of them will be sort of non-combatant civilians who are stuck in that room, and you're going to have to make the decisions on what way you go about that situation. So what I'm trying to get at really is there's a lot of gone into trying to make this game as real as possible, and it's going to be good. That is obviously the difference as well between the sort of one end of the spectrum between the other, how far games come and the amount of level of sort of detail and graphics and all that sort of stuff that's now in games. So I was looking through a few sort of news articles a while back. I know the RAF have set up this sort of game centre. I'm not sure if you're in the RAF and you have heard about what I'm talking about now. Please throw it into the comments section and sort of give other people information who's reading it. But I remember reading a report where they had sort of set up like a game hub, all the best of technology and gaming in there, and they were starting like a team up as such. I can't remember if it was a team or what way they're going to use it, but they're starting to implement it. Obviously they are saying the reasoning for it then is because obviously with the RAF they'll have a lot of technicians who work on aircraft and need to work with electronics and make split decisions, which I 100% agree with. But then my sort of second point to that is, military, army wise, tactics like I just discussed there with 3 different examples. Yes, you can't sit and play a video game and you'll roll out onto the field and you'll get it perfect, but it's getting that thought process so we can utilise it as well. What I had an idea for was then, and if you're into it, let us know in the comments. If you want to get in touch directly, head over to the Instagram page and do direct mail and get straight back to you on that, is set up a sort of group online. So I'm now looking at views to give me the advice where we go PlayStation or Microsoft Xbox, but basically start an electronic ranger company. So anytime this battalion has we've like deployed, like come apart as a battalion and been attached to different units and stuff for your operation. If we go to another unit and it's only a platoon go, Ranger Platoon. If we go away like we done on a couple of Herricks ago as a company, it becomes Ranger Company. So using that, because we're Ranger Media, an electronic Ranger Company, we'll set up, we'll go online. That then creates a community within the gaming world, specifically to Call of Duty. We'll get it set up. Probably going to be set up around towards the end of November, so not as the game comes out. So if you get the game, get loads of practice in, and we'll look at setting that up end of November time. But what that lets us do then is come together as a community. Obviously you got the headsets and everything on so we can communicate to each other live. Now this isn't just me. It then gives you the chance to play along with guys who are serving, so all the rangers and stuff who are serving. You can communicate with each other. You don't even need to be just joining the Royal Irish. You could just be wanting to join the army or any of the military branches, and straight away now you're getting to communicate with someone who's already serving. You can make your assumptions there and then, whether you're going to go yeah or nay, or just go on for a laugh and just build up them relationships. So that's going to be Electronic Ranger Company, and if you are and you think that would be appealing to you, let us know and we'll get amongst it. I will keep you updated with that. Different subject there, but just thought that it's more apparent to not this day and age, because there may be some people out there who love gaming and they're gaming away and they love this style of stuff. They think, I'd love to do that, but there's no way I could do that. 100%. Gaming is rife in the army, and like I said, I get amongst it all the time whenever I'm home and when I can. So that's going to squash any of that sort of stuff where if you think you're some like mad gamer and you can't join the military. Obviously you need to be fit as well. There's no reason why you can't do both. You're obviously going to need to be physically fit to do the actual job, so let's not forget about that there. Anyway then, I've talked enough, so we're going to finish off. If you like the episode, give us a like. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. If you think that someone else, in your head, someone else might get something out of this episode, give us a share. And don't forget then, like I mentioned, we've got a Facebook page and Instagram page, same names, Ranger Media. The other past videos, I'm quite sort of quick to get back to you, but if you've got questions and stuff you want to ask, which you feel that you don't want everyone to see and you want it to be sort of private, come on the Instagram, come on the Facebook, and we can engage privately in the Messenger and on Instagram DM. So that's us for today. Tonight. I'll see you again next Thursday night.